Good afternoon everybody. Today is Sunday, December 10th. So today's destination, we're heading to another night market. So this night market is supposedly one of the biggest night markets in Taiwan. So we're heading to Shilin Night Market and we're gonna eat tons of street food, shop for a bit of souvenirs. So let's go. Shilin Market is a pretty huge market, and from what I experienced, it's kind of divided up into two main areas. So the first area, which we're currently at, is kind of like the outside area where there's a whole bunch of street vendors here. There's a whole bunch of games as well, and also lots of shops. But since I'm a little bit early here in the afternoon, a lot of shops are still setting up, but there's still quite a bit open right now. And as it gets later on into the middle of the night, the entire atmosphere of the night market totally changes. There's going to be tons of people here throughout the night market as they get off work and school, and they may need a quick bite to eat at or just a place to hang out at. And there's also going to be tons of street food vendors here and tons of shops open as well. The second area that we're visiting is the Shilin Night Market food court, and this is definitely a must go to as well. There's hundreds of food vendors here and also tons of shops and souvenirs that you can shop at, and it's all crammed in into one huge building, so this place is definitely a must go to. But before we head to the food court, we're gonna have to eat at some of the street vendors outside. Alright, first spot on the list, we're gonna get some, looks like a gigantic piece of fried chicken. So we're pretty much waiting in line here. Saw the huge line here upon entering the market. So I definitely had to grab one of these to try one, and this first place is called Hometown Barbecue Chicken. One of my favorite parts about eating at street vendors is seeing the entire process. So in order to create this, the first person has a whole bunch of breaded chicken already and drops them into the deep fryer. Once the fried chicken's ready, they'll take that fried chicken and dip it into their special barbecue sauce, and then they'll place it on the grill to keep it warm. Afterwards, they'll ask you how many do you want and whether or not if you want to add some spice powder to it, so let them know if you like your food spicy or not. This thing is freaking huge. It's bigger than my hand. And it's probably not going to be a clean way to eat this. So this gigantic chicken piece is so huge. So it's fried, dipped in barbecue sauce, grilled, and then they put some seasonings on it as well. Oh, looks so good. Alright, so let's rip a piece, try it. Oh, it looks so good. This chicken is legit. This was our first stop, but this one's definitely gonna take a lot of space in my stomach, seeing how it's so huge. But this chicken is so good. Like super crispy on the outside. That sweet barbecue sauce is really good with the saltiness, as well, a little salt and a little spice. Oh, this chicken's phenomenal. So we're getting a drink here, and from what I read, this is not actually froggies. It's actually like a jelly type drink right here. Alright, we're gonna taste our jelly drink right now. This doesn't look too appealing. There's a frog here and squirting out a bunch of pellets. But I've seen this drink pretty much everywhere on every single night market so far, so we're gonna give it a taste. Oh. Definitely kind of reminds me of like a sweet iced tea actually. It has a little bit of tang to it, but it kind of tastes like an iced tea. This is actually good. Oh. Now that we had a quick snack, we're gonna head over to the second area, which is the Shilin Market food court, and this place is massive. You can't really miss it. It's one huge building and there's tons of people heading towards this area, and there's also tons of maps all around the neighborhood pointing towards this area. So if you're trying to head here, it's a little bit hard to miss this. If you head inside this building, the first floor is kind of dedicated to all shops and souvenirs, and there's also a whole bunch of stands where you can play games in order to win prizes. The top floor is probably a pretty good place in order to do some souvenir shopping, because I saw a whole bunch of places that were selling some snacks that you can bring back, like dried beef jerky, dried candy, some pastries as well. And if you're a little bit hungry and need a light snack, they have some food stands as well that have some fresh cut fruit and some smoothies. But today we're going to be here looking for some food, so we're going to be looking for a sign that says B1, which heads down towards their basement level, which is where the food court's actually at. After you make it down towards the basement level, you may be a little bit overwhelmed while you're down here. I definitely was when I was here, because there were so many food stalls here. There was probably over 50 food stalls down here, and they all had pretty big menus, so I didn't even know where to begin. But I recommend that you walk around the entire thing at least once, just to see if you can narrow down some of the things that you might want to try. While you're walking around this place, pay attention to the menus that they have in front of the food stalls because many of these menus have pictures on them of what they serve. And also some of the menus are translated in English as well. So with the combination of the two, it's not too hard to pick and choose what you might want to order. The first place that we're visiting is one of the bigger stalls here and it's located all the way at the end of the food court and it's called Zhongqinghao. So here's our stinky tofu. And then here are our clams. Alright, so with the clams that we got, we actually have to open these clams up, but they've been marinating in this ginger fish chili sauce and they look like they're raw clams. Alright, we're gonna taste these clams out. So it's like a raw clam chili is tangy fish sauce. Very good. One of the dishes here that I had to try is the stinky tofu. So this is my third night market that I'm visiting and I've seen this at every single night market so far and there's quite a lot of people actually eating this. Even though as the name implies, it's very stinky. You can smell this dish a mile away and definitely has a distinct smell. But you know what, we're just gonna have to try it here. I've seen so many people eat it and enjoy it, so we're gonna have to check this out. Alright, now I'm gonna try the stinky tofu. You definitely get like a putrid smell like when you're eating it, but after you get over it, it actually tastes pretty good. It's like a fried tofu and with a sweet sauce as well with the onions. It's actually pretty good. Let me take a second bite just to make sure. After you get over that putrid smell in the beginning, it actually tastes pretty good. Like a fried tofu, you can taste the onions, the sauce. It actually tastes really good. So the more I kept eating it, I was like, I think I like this. Even though like it did have that strong smell when it hits you at once, like poof. Alright, so this place is called Zhongqinghao. And it was also rated, I guess, this year for top restaurants for Chinese travelers. I had it at the other night market, but the oyster omelets definitely a must get. So here's where my fried sticky tofu was made. It's actually pretty good. Alright, we're gonna sit at another restaurant right here. I want to try some noodles here this time. Okay, so what we ordered here is I want to try some grilled abalone. Sounds good. And then I ordered what is right here, oyster noodle soup. Alright, here's my oyster noodle soup. So you can see there's oysters here, there's some vegetables here. Also it looks like there's some meat as well. And there's a whole bunch of thin noodles here. Looks pretty good. Steaming hot, you can see the steam come out. Alright, you can see how hot this thing is. There's still steam coming off of it. But you get a pretty good amount of oysters. And then here, let's do a noodle pull. Woo! It is hot. Alright, we're gonna try some of these noodles. These noodles are really hot though. Like, you can see the steam come out. Ooh, they look like rice noodles. Oh, this is good. Super soft, thin rice noodles. Lots of oysters as well. Now to try some of this broth. Just a little bit so it's not too hot. It's a light seafood broth. It's really good. So how this broth reminds me of, it's like a seafood broth, but it also kind of reminds me of like a Vietnamese seafood broth or hủ tiếu. It's very similar. So the noodles, however, are different. I think these are rice noodles, but they're really thin and a little bit chewy as well. It's good. After eating a lot of heavy food, you know, like throughout the entire day, definitely feel good eating some light food. Alright, we're gonna eat one of these bad boys right now. Some abalone. Wow, this abalone is really good. It's like really meaty. Tastes like, well, it really just tastes like its own taste. It's abalone, but it's really meaty for like a shellfish. So if you had oysters, imagine like the firmness and the thickness of the oyster, like maybe times 3, times 4. And this is what it tastes like. And then there's this sweet sauce that they used on it. It's really good. Oh. This abalone's price is like very similar to Korea, except I got 4 for about 10,000 won in Korea, but the abalone were a little bit bigger. So here we get about 5 for about $6 in the US, but they're a little bit smaller, but it's relatively about the same. And if you never had abalone before, definitely try it here or in Korea, because it's much cheaper trying it here in Korea than back in the States, because in the States you're paying like double, triple, maybe even quadruple the price for abalone.
The final thing that we're gonna grab here in this underground food court basement is some dessert. So I saw this stand here while coming down here, and they have a whole bunch of pictures of celebrities and famous people, I guess, on their wall that's eaten here. So I decided to give this place a shot just to see what it's all about. Unfortunately for me, I don't know the exact name of this dish, so if you do know, let me know down in the comments below, because I would sure love to know. So first of all, they start off with this huge amount of dough that they make, and then they section it off into little bits where they roll it out and then they flatten it so it becomes flat, kind of like a tortilla or like a crepe. Then they take these crepes and place them on the hot plate to cook them. Once the crepe is ready, they'll add this flaky crispy biscuit to it, and then they'll smash this up with a hammer until it crumbles to bits. And afterwards, they'll add the flavoring and seasonings that you chose to this wrap, and then wrap it up, and then it's complete.
Alright, let's try the pastries that we just got. This looks more like a dessert dish. Alright, actually let me take a second bite. First bite, it was all batter. Second bite probably has more of the inside. It kind of tastes like toffee. The batter on the inside is pretty light. And then the inside of this one, I believe, is black sesame. So I can taste a whole bunch of black sesame. Flavors are not too sweet. The sweetness is very subtle, but you can taste each flavor unravel. Alright, next one we're gonna try is the pork one. For me, like, I'm tasting it, but it kind of feels like I'm just eating carbs on carbs on carbs. For me, I'm not feeling it, but if you want to give it a shot, try one. Maybe not try 3. So I got 3 different flavors. I tried each one so far. They're just okay for me.
Now that we had our fill at the food court, let's head back outside toward the Shilin Night Market and try out some more street food items.
Oh my god, this place is a definitely must for me. I love eating roast pig, especially when, oh, this thing has been barely eaten into, so it's pretty much brand new. So this thing is glorious. So this whole thing is wrapped with the egg omelet, but there's onions, pork, and a little sweet sauce inside. Can't wait to take a bite. Alright, we're gonna take a bite into this roast pig omelet. So excited. Really, really good.
On the inside of this, you get some sliced onions and cucumbers, along with this juicy, crispy pork, and wrapped around it is this warm, delicious omelet. This thing was so good that I decided to buy some roast pork just to bring back later on so I could have a midnight snack.
So here's another bun similar to Rao. Definitely going to wait in line since it's short. This is one of my favorite things to get at Rao Street Market, so we're gonna wait here in line to get another bun.
And what they're making here is Taiwanese pepper buns, and these things are delicious, especially when coming right out of the oven. In order to make this, they'll take some dough and flatten it out, and then they'll add some seasoned meat to it, and I believe it's pork, and then they'll add some green onions as well. Once they're filled and wrapped, they'll add some liquid to it to add some moisture so they don't dry out in the oven, and then they'll add some sesame seeds on top of each bun. And once they're ready, they start taking these buns and sticking them to the side of the oven in order to bake them. And once they've finished baking, they end up looking like this, and they're taken off and set to the side to cool off a bit.
Well, these buns are literally going to be the best thing that I've eaten here. These are so good. So inside we have some meat, green onions, pepper. The bun's really hot. I can't hold it much longer in that position. But this is similar to what I got at Rao Market. So good. Alright guys, I'm heading back right now to the guest house. Well, hopefully you guys enjoyed another street food tour, and I'll see you guys for another day in Taipei tomorrow. Alright.